Well, if we take a look at a calendar month, the 30-day deadline is up. But no one is going to step aside for now. That's the message from the ANC as it prepares to discuss how to deal with members who are charged criminally. The National Executive Committee, or the NEC of the ANC, previously said those who defy this resolution will be suspended. A number of high-ranking officials, including Secretary General Ace Magashule, are affected. eNCA Siphamandla Goge spoke to ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe.
We have a meeting of the National Working Committee on Monday. Of course, we'll get reports on the work that the Secretary General's office was expected to do, compilation of a list of all of those that whose positions or roles in the organization would be impacted upon by the decision of the last National Executive Committee. We'll then have an NEC over this coming weekend to process all of those reports.
In the meantime, no one is stepping aside.
Well, you'd appreciate that, we have not even had sight of the different reports from provinces. We're having a meeting on Monday. The National Working Committee meeting is sitting. We'll have line of sight of all the reports. We'll also get updates on what has happened even in provinces. The apex structure of the African National Congress, the National Executive Committee, would also be sitting over the weekend to then deal with the implementation of NEC decisions.
Your critics will say the ANC leadership is responsible for this confusion and chaos because it gave the impression that after 30 days, those who would have not stepped aside will be suspended and disciplined. But it seems as if that was not the case.
You will only know what had happened when you get into a meeting and receive reports. The ANC is a self-respecting organization. It takes itself seriously. It has got the guidelines that lay out the framework of how all of these things are supposed to be operationalized. When it goes to a meeting, it will get all of the reports. Surely, what we normally do is that when we leave meetings, if there are things that we are expected to communicate out in the public, we always issue statements. We'll have a meeting of the National Executive Committee. It will give us an opportunity as well to receive all of the reports.
You are bringing this meeting forward simply because the issue of step aside has a potential to divide the ANC. There are those who are reluctant, who are defiant that they are not going to step aside. Are you expecting to be hit here by lawsuits or by legal challenges?
We're going into a meeting of the ANC, we'll get those reports. It's important that the ANC is allowed to process all of its matters. In the same way that we came out and communicated the 30 days, the step aside and all of that, we now have got to go back to the meeting and then say, what are the things that had happened from the last time when we met? What are the issues for coming out of provinces and all of that? And is some of these decisions, how do they impact? What are the sort of appeals that cadres would have brought forward? All those things, you'll have to look at them broadly.
Simply put, you're telling us that for now you don't know what will happen. You will only know once that NEC meeting is over.
Of course. I'm not in the Secretary General's office. I don't know. Reports will have to come to the NWC and be processed. Reports will go to the National Executive Committee, process for finality and implementation. So what I'm saying is that there's not been a meeting since the last time when the ANC pronounced itself on its decision.
But that decision was clear. The resolution was clear. 30 days you step aside. If you don't, you get suspended and disciplined.
We will only know that when we get into a meeting.
Okay, Babule, thank you very much for your time. That is Pule Mabe. He is the spokesperson of the governing African National Congress, basically saying, well, things will become clearer during the upcoming National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC when it comes to the issue of step aside, which is dividing the governing party.